in Cleveland for rookie camp, Brew was analyzing this tape. Didn't speak to the media, but here's Browns GM Andrew Berry on the QB competition between Flacco, Pickett, Shedeur, and Dillon Gabriel. Take a listen.
We're super excited to have him. We spent a lot of time with him in the process. He's a good kid. He's talented. We were surprised that he was available at 144, and we're excited to have him to the room. But he's got to compete and earn a role just like Dillon, just like Kenny, just like Joe.
Okay, Brew, do you think Shedeur can move up the depth chart?
First, I like the way Shedeur, like the smile, and he genuinely seems excited. It's almost like he doesn't know he was the 5th round pick. Like he really seems like just excited and elated.
Seems like it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
And that is incredibly likable and relatable.
Right, yes. And I think so. If he just, it seems like he may already have gotten rid of the camera crew. Obviously, I'm glad I didn't see legendary in his locker or on his locker or anything like that. Just go in. And Andrew Berry, look, he was asked about the notion that the owner made the pick. He didn't deny it. So, maybe the owner did. But that quote from Berry was a solid quote. Like, it sounded like, you know what? We're going to give him a chance. And he's going to get a shot. We're not burying him just because he's a 5th round pick and the 2nd quarterback we picked. And so that's all you can ask for if you're Shedeur. Like I said, get rid of all the outside distractions, camera, crew, the legendary, all that stuff. And I think the teammates will like him and just study hard and work hard. If he's good, I think he'll get a shot and he can win them over.
Browns are bad at everything in their offense last year.
Yeah.
Dead last in yards per attempt at 5.9, so he can throw it a little further than that. They were 3rd to last in TDs. They were 1st in interceptions. They were tied for 2nd worst with 4 deep plays over 40 yards, which is a lot of teams were jammed up there. They were 2nd most in sacks. So if I'm like,
that one concerns me.
Because he's good at all these other things. He doesn't throw interceptions. He had a decent length of target, even though Cam Ward made fun of him. And he threw a bunch of TDs. The sacks, I don't know. Is that going to rear its ugly head at camp?
That just worries me that they have. When they made the playoffs with Flacco, they kind of had an underrated offensive line. Last year they dealt with injuries. I'm not sure how well they've replaced all those guys. And is whomever the quarterback there going to be, under a lot of duress? Shedeur is not competing with their numbers of last year. He's competing with Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Flacco. And I agreed with Brew entirely that watching that little video of him getting to his locker, I'm like, man, this is a young, compared to us, a very young person kind of realizing their life stream. Like, I'm in an NFL locker room. My name's on the locker. That's how it felt. Yep. And it seemed very childlike in a very positive way. Wholesome. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So I like that. I also am not as big of a believer in Shedeur's higher in talent as Brew is, but I do think it's higher than the guys he's competing with. That's the thing. So, I didn't, you know what I mean? I had a different evaluation of Shedeur than Brew. But Flacco is good for a nice month of football total at best. Agree. Kenny Pickett, I think, is truly bad. And Dillon Gabriel, we watched a decent amount of Oregon last year. At no point was I like, oh, I think that kid's going to be an NFL quarterback. I was shocked when he was taken.
Stefanski likes him.
Right. Like
and no, I understand that. But I'm just saying, for me, I do think he has an inside track from an ability perspective, even though I'm not even as high on his ability as some other people.
Okay. God, this is such a long-winded way, man. Let's just tackle this question head on right now, okay? We could just tackle this straight on. Can Shedeur win over Browns coaches? Yes. Yes, he can. And at this point, coaches want to be won over. They despite what people may have tried to sell you on, these coaches want to see these guys succeed, and they would want to see Shedeur succeed. But he does have his work cut out for him. Yeah, Joe Flacco is old, but the dude knows how to play football at the highest level in the NFL. Like, that's just the reality. Yes, he's old, but he knows how to play football. He deeply, deeply, deeply understands how to play football at the NFL level. He speaks the exact same language as Stefanski, whereas someone like Shedeur needs to learn. He needs to learn the language, and so that already now puts you at a deficit. Say what you will about Kenny Pickett, but he held his own in Philadelphia. When he got thrown into the fire after Jalen Hurts went down, he went toe-to-toe with the Commanders. Like, it wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that, but he was good enough to win. And he stepped up and made some awesome plays. He stepped up. He absolutely did. And he had that offense continuing going forward. And the run game, he did not have Saquon Barkley got, as soon as Jalen Hurts went down in that game, that run game for them was non-existent. They were asking Kenny Pickett to make some big-time throws and big-time moments against the divisional rival. And that Commanders team ended up going to the NFC Championship game. So that means something. And you can't just say, oh, well, the Eagles were stacked. It doesn't matter. He held his own in that moment. He was not a liability. He wasn't Jalen Hurts, and the offense had to change. But, I mean, to do that on the fly, to not be a run-first team in the middle of a game and have to completely switch that and try to rely on Saquon Barkley only to have him get, like, essentially no yards from that point. He had one big run when Jalen Hurts went down where he broke off, and that was great. And then after that, it was just non-existent. I mean, now you're asking a lot, and Kenny Pickett did great with it. I'm not going to judge him based on what he looked like with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're a mess offensively, and they have been for years. So I'm not going to use that as a frame of reference. So that's a legit thing. And then they drafted, this collection of coaches, GM, etc., this staff, they drafted another quarterback above Shedeur Sanders. And so that is where, that is their evaluation right now. Their evaluation is that Shedeur is, 4, right? Like that is what he is. And that is the lens that they're going to look at it for. And yeah, Shedeur is definitely going to have to be extra to really kind of prove himself. That's how sports works, right? If you're behind someone else, you have to really go above and beyond to show that you belong or show that you should be now above the other person. But the other thing is that I think Shedeur has going for him is, since the owner really did want him, I feel as though everyone is going to understand of like, hey, coach does want Shedeur on this team. It's already a top selling jersey. The shows are talking about us like that. Like that is a thing. If the Browns didn't draft Shedeur Sanders, then there's no Browns segment right now. They're not ending the show talking about can Joe Flacco lead this team to win the division? Like they're not having that conversation. And the moment Shedeur starts a game, that's what all the conversation is going to be like. Can Shedeur lead the Browns to the playoffs? Can Shedeur, and he wins 2 games. Can Shedeur lead the Browns to a Super Bowl? How far can Shedeur lead the Browns? Like it starts to spiral and blow up. And the staff knows that, the owners know that, Stefanski knows that, like Shedeur knows that, like everyone knows that. Flacco, we live in reality here. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what some of the things are said and how the narrative gets constructed. I think we're gonna get very, very well-constructed talking points from the Browns. He could be awful. I'm not saying he is, so don't panic. But he could be awful. He could throw not a single touchdown and just throw nothing but interceptions. And, every time he drops back in practice and he just sails the ball 100 feet over someone's head, we're still going to get the most like, oh, Shedeur's putting in work. He's really showing a lot of progress. He's growing. Like, I don't feel as though we're ever going to get, like before, we were getting a lot of inside information and, positive, negative, whatever. But I just feel like we're going to get a lot of carefully constructed, sound bites coming from the Cleveland Browns moving forward with regards to Shedeur Sanders. So I think it'll be tough to be able to decipher what's the reality, what's not. And so we're, for these next couple of months, we're definitely going to be in for a pretty wild ride of wild speculation. So I can't wait for that. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Shedeur Sanders? Can he win over the Browns coaches? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.